find this. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness podcast. This is David here with my good friend Chelsea. We are going to talk a little bit about her podcast. She actually did a podcast a few years ago called Overzealous. She's actually the host, and we're going to cover mental health and disabilities as well. So, welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much, David.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think about 2 years since we
Yeah.
first met, and you've been one of my huge supporters since then, since the beginning.
Yeah. I love your journey. I just love a good
Yeah,
podcast.
right. And the way that Chelsea and I met was she was doing her podcast at the time, and I think it was an episode where you were talking about extraterrestrial beings, and that was very fascinating. And UFOs.
Yeah. I like
Is
talking
that
about
something
random
that's still
stuff.
yeah, whether it's that or, mental health and disabilities, which is something we'll cover, or just everyday life, even cooking, which I've seen you do.
Yeah, I cook a lot.
What's your best recipe?
Oh, I guess that depends on who you are as a person. Usually people are pretty blown away with the fact that I can actually cook a good steak.
What?
Um, but I also make like homemade hamburger helper, homemade mac and cheese. I like making my own bread. Like I like making my own things. I don't want to buy like cake mix, I want to figure out how to make it.
From scratch. That's the best.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess probably I don't know. I think the hamburger helper wins everyone because everyone's like, "What? You can make this like as it is without the box?"
Yeah, like, if you're good at it, then definitely pursue it and um do your own thing. And like for you, your journey's been very interesting. Like you had mentioned to me earlier about your mom who's on the autistic spectrum. And
Yeah.
is autism something you've always been passionate about?
Um, I wouldn't say passionate. Um, I've just always
Mm.
been really interested in psychology and neuropsychology, the brain in general. The entire central nervous system is fascinating. So I think that, like most of my life, we kind of wondered what the deal was because we knew something was different about my mom, but not, you really couldn't tell what it was. And then I got into psychology courses, and I was like, I
Huh.
can kind of see what's going on here. I can see that it's a mild intellectual disability, and on occasion, when she is stressed out, it presents as autism. But I mentioned that I also have stimming behaviors too when I get stressed out. So I'm starting to wonder if, a lot of us have stimming behaviors when we get stressed out because we need something to calm us down, right?
Right? Right, definitely. Is it something that did you did you figure it out by like self-diagnosing, or did you go to a doctor and they kind of told
um,
you like the I guess,
so she's
like
been to a
that symptom?
psychiatrist. They didn't really tell us what the actual diagnosis was. But I could see with what they were trying to do. So this would have been like in 2000. They were pairing her up like through like a disability sort of program. They'd be pairing her up with children because she liked working with children in daycares. But the children would be on the spectrum as well. So I was like, isn't that interesting? I think they see a connection here, but it was the year 2000. So they didn't really realize that, that's not gonna work.
Right. Now with it's funny because now that you mentioned now with modern technology and medicine, it's very easy to detect the markers, associated with
Yeah. Well,
autism. It's
and research is just
easy.
insane. And when you start reading the brain and like learning about, where we're at in research with the brain, it's like in infancy. Like we know nothing. it's literally the final frontier is the only thing that it's inside of us. Like it should have been the first thing we tried figuring out.
So would you say that your mom was the main inspiration behind you studying the wanting to study, the brain neurologically and other things?
I don't know that it's in the inspiration. She's definitely the inspiration for why I work hard and why I do well in life. Like how I can thrive and survive, right? Like she'd be that inspiration. I wouldn't say that that's what got me into psychology. I think a lot of people get into psychology because they want to figure themselves out. And then they just happen to
Mhm.
learn about other people in their lives when they're in their courses.
Right. And and it's funny because every it's not everybody, but some people get into psychology because they're like, you know what? I want to figure this person out because they're either A stressing me out or B, I just don't want to deal with them and I want to know what's going on so I can,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
for a good reason. They just want to know about the person. Know
Yes.
what's going on. How can I help them?
Yeah. I would say the thing that I've learned the most, which I didn't even pick up from my courses, but one thing that I realized I needed to start trying to do was learning to listen, like actively listening. So now that's like the one thing that I'm like, yeah, I think that that's what I would take from my degree is like I can shut up and listen to what someone's saying.
Right. It's funny because I was just thinking about this, like psychology, psycho. you know,
Yeah.
it's of the mind. So, you know, and when I first started thinking about psychology, I'm like, um, so you study psychology, yet you learn about a person's body language. Um, you could tell how they do things. Like, I don't know if you've seen the show How to Lie to Me. Like they show you subtle cues of when someone lies, and
Yes.
it's so fascinating.
Yeah, that show is actually based on the guy that like literally did that. So like we actually learn about that in psychology.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool how you can tell subtle cues of a person, like body language, when they're nervous, when they're upset,
Yeah, yeah.
when they're in trouble, when they're
Yeah.
happy, when they're sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to have cat like reflexes to figure that out.
No, I feel like you just have to have a general like tab of a bunch of things in your brain that you can go through all the time.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing? Doing good? Warren, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Yeah, they're good people. Yeah, it's so fascinating the human mind and how it works. Um,
Mhm.
so for you studying that, was that something that you wanted to really get into? That was your first thing, to
It
say,
was
I
not
want
my
to get
first
into
thing.
what was the one you really wanted to get into?
Journalism. So in
Journalism.
2010, I think, like back in the day when I was supposed to start, we're all 20 and we're like, we're going to go to college and become something.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I want to be on TV because I was a kid. So that's the reason why you shouldn't, ask kids to figure out their life because I have no interest in being on TV or
Mhm.
broadcast or anything like that anymore. So I took broadcast journalism and I actually wasn't good at the technology side of it because I grew up extraordinarily poor and could not afford a computer or anything like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I dropped out, and that was actually the inspiration for starting the podcast and the YouTube later on because it felt like something in me that I still needed to overcome.
You
So I did
could
it and done it, and
tell.
now I'm done.
I could tell that, like, you're, like, listening to your podcast, approached every topic, you're really good at it. I always wonder why, like, you stopped, and I'm like, "She was really good at what she was doing."
Oh, I've been thinking about going back. I've been thinking about it. Just a
Are
lot of
we are we
life
gonna
things
are we gonna see
happened.
a relaunch?
Maybe. It would be a
Oh,
whole rebranding because I'm like a completely different person now.
yeah, I would definitely love to see that, like a relaunch of the podcast and just,
Nice.
just really talk about what you're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah. I like talking about nonsense too, right? Like the aliens
Yeah.
or I have one about all dressed chips. Why they're such a big deal. Like I could talk about anything for hours.
Right, yeah, you have topics that you can really, captivate people with.
Thank you. It's all the
That's
running I
something
do.
you
I have
should
a lot of
definitely,
time to think.
and it helps, like you said, you put pens to paper by doing journalism. It was something that kinda helped you build that skill. You transferred over to podcasting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I wasn't even involved in podcasting. My first passion before I got involved in teaching and advocacy was meteorology because I'm a weather. I love
Yeah, isn't
seeing
that
storms
funny?
and their patterns, and I
Yeah.
actually wanted to be a hurricane hunter.
That's actually a
Yeah,
really
I
cool
wanted to be a
sounding
hurricane
thing.
hunter. Yeah,
Who
you
wouldn't
they
wanna be
actually
that?
go inside. Yeah, they go in a plane, and they go inside the storm, and they analyze the storm. So
I
they're
feel like I've
literally
seen
in
a
the
show
storm in
on
the
that
middle of it.
before,
Yeah, like, I'm
and
like,
you
I
record, like,
wanted
the
to do it, but then
pressures and all that?
pictures and where it's going and the direction, but then I realized I'm just really crappy at math, so I can't do that. So, that's where I decided to change, my thoughts
Same.
and where I wanted to go, so and here we are. Um, Brandon, that's awesome. I'm hoping your other podcast, works out for you. Let me know when it is, and maybe I might check it out. Yeah, I
Oh,
have
I
people
just saw that this has a comment thing.
yeah, people comment on there on the show.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you can interact with your audience too, so that's what makes it so fascinating. Because I've had
Yeah.
people be very, "Oh, yeah, hey, hey, that works too." I mean, I could wear a poncho and chase down storms that way. Yeah, but who knows? And for you, you're going through a bit of a life of a life-changing experience, like, what's next for you on the cards besides wanting to relaunch the podcast down the road? How you doing? Everything good? Oh, I think we lost you, Chelsea. Can you hear me? Hold on. Uh, oh, oh no. Wonderful. Oh no. Well, guys, we're having some technical difficulties here. Hopefully, we can have Chelsea come back on here in a second. Hi, how you doing? Rich, girl, everything good? So yeah, we were just talking a little bit about our previous um fascinations with our careers and everything. So like I said, I wanted to do meteorology, and but I wasn't that good in math. So um I decided to go into.
Am I back?
She's coming back on, you guys. And I decided to go back into advocacy. So here she is. I don't know what happened. We had
I do
some
not know what
technical
happened.
difficulties. Yeah, like you froze, and I'm like, oh no, like we couldn't
Yeah.
hear you, and
I think I
but
need a
that's
new computer. I have a really old Mac.
yeah. I'm literally switching internet providers because I've had issues with the internet and how slow it is. I
Yeah.
have AT&T.
Do you plug in? Like, I think if you like actually plug into the Wi-Fi, it's better, but
No, I have a router, and I tried to call AT&T yesterday to change, I guess, the cost because this can really ridiculous. So I'm like,
yeah.
it's time for a change and find something a lot quicker for recording and doing my job because I work from home, so I need something that's stable.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, I apologize, you guys. We had a little bit of technical difficulties here. Gotta love the internet. You know how it jumps on and off in the middle of a wonderful episode here. So where do you see yourself in the next few years, especially now since you're going through a different journey in your life now?
Oh my goodness. I'm the worst person to ask that too because I'm such a go with the flow type of human being. I have
Okay,
like
so
an
you're more
option
like,
A,
I'll just
B,
follow the
C,
wave.
D. Honestly, right now, my biggest dream is to purchase a duplex with my best friend so that we can live together
Ooh,
and help
okay,
each other,
okay.
raise our families and be a part of a family and have a garden.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of all I've thought of. Like, other than that, I mean, I might go back to BC at some point because I can get a better job there. I can work in admissions. In Ontario, I can't. It's really hard to get any kind of job
You're talking
here.
about like university or
Yeah, so
like
I worked at a university in BC. I'm not having the same luck here.
I can imagine, especially because it's probably a smaller town where you're at, right? It's not as big as BC.
No, actually, it's a bigger town. Ontario is very odd. There's no jobs, but there's places to live. And in BC, there's a lot of jobs, but nowhere to live. Like it's very backwards. If they could amalgamate and be the same province, it would all work
Right,
out for every Canadian.
right. Have you heard of Chris Van Fleet? He is like
No.
I'm like a huge fan of his. Like he does a lot of celebrity he interviews a lot of different celebrities, like celebrity podcast, and
Chris
he's
Van
interviewed a
Fleet?
lot of different. Yeah, he's Canadian. He's from Canada.
Oh,
And I
interesting.
love his style of interview. I love his style of interviewing. Like he's very approachable, and I've always enjoyed his method of podcasting, and I try to follow his methods.
Yeah.
So I would definitely look him up. Like
I
he's
will,
he's
yeah.
awesome. And he has millions of followers in his YouTube channel too, and he's very well
Okay.
known. And I'm hoping that next month when I do this wrestling event that I'm doing in St. Augustine in person, which I'll be interviewing high profile names, it'll help me
Wow.
get the foot in the door. So I'm
Yeah, that's
excited.
really cool. I love wrestling.
Oh, you do? Oh, you
Yeah,
are a
I do.
wrestling fan. Okay.
I totally love
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah. I don't know
Love
if you
like
know Mick
WWF when I was a
Foley.
kid. Yes.
Yeah, Mick Foley, the Stratus leader. They'll all be there at the event. I'll
No.
be the interviewee of. Yeah,
Like
they'll be there.
actually. Okay, so
I
I've met
actually
Val
be there.
Venus.
I'll get to. Oh, Melvina's that was
He's such
every
a nice
woman's.
guy.
Yeah, it's a
I
shame
think
he
that's
fell off.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Ye
that's so cool. I had no idea you were a wrestling fan. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Like, I will definitely listen to that because I loved Lita. Like, she her and Trish Stratus, huge inspiration
Yeah,
for me as a kid. And I'd say
right.
they'd even inspired me to be, to work out. Like, I would say that those women and looking up to them at a young age, I wanted to be athletic like that.
Right. They help pioneer the path to where we're at now because women's wrestling back in the day wasn't respected.
Yeah,
They would
yeah, it was
usually
like a
see
show.
a lot of the I don't know if you watched it when you were a kid, but a lot of the women that were portrayed there were more of like it was a show, they'd show off their bodies, but none of the
Yeah.
wrestling ability was there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you see matches, but it was like 5-minute matches. Like you didn't really see anything showcased
Yeah.
until now. Now it's like a big deal. Now you have like the Becky Lynches, and then you have Trish who came back for like a year or two back into wrestling.
Yeah, didn't The
And
Rock come back too? Like, he was at
yeah,
WrestleMania? I almost
yeah, The
bought
Rock was
that.
at WrestleMania as the final boss. He was back there with Cody and Roman, and it's cool seeing a lot of these older generations of wrestlers coming in to help the next generation. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But I also love seeing them succeed in movies too, like John Cena and The Rock. Like, I'm like, "Yes, they are fantastic actors." Like, put them in every
so,
movie.
I mean, I have to disagree. The Rock he's okay. I mean, he's not
Oh, I love him.
amazing there, but I mean, he's done his fair share of movies, especially the Fast and the Furious series,
Yeah.
and John Cena. He's trying to get up there. So
Yeah.
yeah, like there's a lot of these new platforms that a lot of these individuals are getting involved in. You know,
Yeah.
and
I
John
like
Cena with
it.
Make a Wish. He's done a Make a Wish too.
Yeah, he's, like, done apparently, like, the most amount of Make-A-Wishes, and I'm like, I can see that, like, and I can see people wanting to meet him because he's cool.
Yeah, he's very soft spoken, except for when fans are being really pushy.
Yeah.
But he's respectful about it though, because I've seen videos circling around online. He's very
Aw,
respectful to those fans that are pushy towards him.
well, that's I mean, you don't have to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't have to be, but he's very cordial. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for this event. There'll be so many different names, from past and present,
Yeah, that's
wrestlers.
really cool.
I don't know if you know Matt and Jeff. Jeff Hardy's gonna be there too.
I had the hugest crush on
Um,
Jeff Hardy. Like, get my mom in here right
yeah,
now to tell you how much I love Jeff Hardy.
yeah, he'll be there actually as a peer doing meet and greets and also doing a concert there later on during the
A
after
concert?
the
That's
event.
so
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know if you knew, but he does music too. He does.
I did not know that. I'm sure my mom did, but I did not know that.
Yeah, and he'll be there, and so it should be a good time. And I'm hoping to catch a few of them, there to interview them for. They told me that I have at least 5 minutes, so I got to come up with a really good question or
Oh,
two to
yeah, that's
be
really
able to,
cool.
and hopefully they'll be up on the channel too, and you guys will get to see him, and it'll help build some credibility as far as
100%,
myself as
yeah.
a podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, especially you, because you're probably waiting for. Have you been to a few of the events there? Monday Night Raw, SmackDown.
I went when I was, like, 14 or something to a
Okay,
Raw event in Toronto. And like Stone Cold was there, The Rock, the Hardy Boys, Lita, like all it was I cried when I
uh,
found out I was
I'm pretty
going.
sure.
Like I was so happy.
Do you know Edge? He's
Yes.
from he's
Oh
from
yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Edge and Christian.
I know Edge.
Now Adam Copeland. Actually, Adam Copeland's actual name because he's in AEW, but he was very well known with Christian back when they were
Yeah.
WWF. They were very
Okay.
well known.
Yeah. Did you see my post about I was how like if you go into a schoolyard right now, they have octagons in their schoolyards. And I'm like, why does Gen Alpha get octagons? We wanted wrestling rings. Like, why
Right,
didn't we like right in the playground they get an octagon? I don't get it.
right. That's crazy. Yeah,
I
like
wanted a wrestling ring.
man, you still gotta work on petitioning for that.
Yeah.
Make schools get wrestling rings.
They need wrestling rings.
Yeah, so I'm very happy that I hear that you're another wrestling fan. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. This is good. I like
Yeah,
this.
since I was a kid too. So, yeah, we could do a whole entire episode just off that alone.
We totally could. Like I could talk about it forever.
Yeah, I can go for hours. Like who? you know, who was there. And I don't know if you know this wrestler I interviewed about 3 years ago, Gregory Iron. He has cerebral palsy. He's the only wrestler
Okay.
with cerebral palsy in the world. And I got
Wow.
to interview him 3 years ago on my birthday. Actually, my
Oh,
friend did a cameo, and he sent me the cameo, and he introduced himself, and he's like, "I've heard about your podcast, and I want to be on your podcast." So he actually made some time on
oh
his
my
busy schedule
gosh.
to have me interview him, and I
That's
got to.
actually so
He was
cool.
trained by yeah, yeah, he was trained by Johnny Gargano. He's been on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast 3 times. He
Okay.
knows CM Punk. He's trained with CM Punk. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and a lot of these big names in the business. And
Wow.
he actually had a rumor where he was gonna debut in the Rumble, but that never happened. But he's to this day he's still wrestling and he still enjoys it, and and he's fantastic. And I've got to do a couple of events with him as far as motivational speaking. Like we've done events together
Okay.
virtually.
So
So
cool. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
that's a wonderful thing about the internet is you get to meet people, especially when you get to connect with them, like you and I have
Yeah.
connected, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, we would have never met had we not had the internet or
Or
podcast.
have I not approached you? Because I think I approached you before you approached me. So
Yeah, maybe. I don't really know.
I think yeah, I think that's how it was. So where were we? I guess we were talking about okay, so we're talking about your future plans, which are kind of still up in
It's
the
up in the
air.
air.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to put it. Um, so if you could talk to your younger self now, what would you tell her?
Oh my goodness. Um, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna turn into the person that you want to be, and stop caring about men so much. Took a long time for me to realize that, like, I'm one of those people that, like, my addiction isn't substances. It's very much love and emotion, and I
Oh
romanticize
yeah.
things a lot, and
Mhm.
I've had to learn, like, that's you. That person
Mhm.
wasn't magic. You're the magic girl. Don't just give that magic away to everyone.
Yes, yes. You're you're exactly right. It's one of those things, you wanna help everybody,
Yeah.
but they some people you gotta be careful with your kindness because they can take it to an advantage.
Yeah. And some people don't want to love you for who you are. They were just lacking love. And I'm not lacking love. So I don't want to, I don't get why people want to force people into things. It's like, no, if we're not good friends and it isn't working out, we need to move on.
Right, you gotta and also you gotta be yourself, and the first thing you have to do is learn to love yourself, and that's something I think you're trying to do right now is love yourself first before you can
Yeah.
jump and care about someone else. And
Yeah.
I know it sounds difficult and it's not easy, but it's the best thing to do.
It's not easy. And I think I could do like a whole episode on like getting over a breakup or, like getting back to yourself. Cause I mean, I was in a relationship for 14 years and had to figure out who I was all over
Wow,
again after that.
14 years.
Yeah,
That is
it's
that
insane.
is long. Yeah, my longest was 3 was not even like 2 months, and then I found out she was a psycho, and then
Oh no.
yeah, I mean literally she was, and we met through Tinder, which is hilarious, and this was like 8 years ago,
Okay.
and then
Yeah,
I
I don't like
haven't been
dating apps.
yeah I haven't really been with anybody since then. So yeah, so you have to be very careful with who you interact with too, because you don't know what
I
they've
agree.
been through or what they're on. So
Yeah, and it's not your
yeah,
job to be there for them if they've been through something, and it's not your job to be there if they're taking it out on you. It's a lot, yeah. Yeah, I don't think people take
And
relationships seriously right now. Like, I think people just are lonely and want to be with someone, and that's not me. Like, I'm not gonna
mhm,
just be with someone because I'm lonely.
right, right. It's you just want to be with someone that actually cares about you, that supports you. You both can support each other's goals,
Yeah.
and build together.
Likes me as a person is a huge one.
Mhm.
I've
Likes
dated
you as a
people and I'm
person.
like, I don't think you even like me as a human. Like, you don't like my jokes. It seems like you don't like when I speak.
Yeah, like your quirks. How funny you are.
Yeah. I want
You
my
you as a
significant
person.
other to think I'm funny a little bit because I'm kind of funny.
You are hilarious. You are
Thank you.
hilarious. At least I
Thank you.
found you funny. Yeah, at
Thank
least I
you.
found you funny. So yeah, you got your own sense of humor, and I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
yeah, of course. That's what that's what we're here for is that unity and solidarity. We gotta support each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so for right now, can people still access your podcast? Like if they wanted to listen to it, or
I mean, technically they can. It's I mean, there's not much to it,
I know
and there's a couple of
it's been a
episodes
while,
on
but
there. Yeah, there's a couple of episodes on there that I actually wanna take off before I would even go back onto it. Like, you really can listen to it, it's there, it's overzealous, but there's episodes with my ex, and normally I wouldn't
uh,
even really care about that, but
but
I remember the process and how traumatic it was because I remember listening to it back and editing it, and that's when I started hearing, "I don't think this guy likes me," because I had to
oh
edit out
no,
which
podcast?
dude, if you're wondering if your,
Mind
like,
blowing.
feelings are valid, if you're feeling unliked or unloved or anything, ask them to do a podcast with you. Listen to it back. You will hear in their voice if they love you, if they care. The
Wow.
amount of stuff I was editing out because it
No.
sounded like he hated talking to me, I was like, "Huh, I don't think this guy likes me that much."
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, go back, go listen to it, see it's all choppy. It's interesting, right?
Yeah,
But it's
that's
still there. You can listen to it. At some point, I'll try and take them down, but not
yeah,
the alien episode. The alien episode I love, and
that
my
that's gotta
Ruffles
be the
all
most popular
dressed.
one.
I think it's close there. Yeah, like some of them got like a really good amount of listens, and some of them went like around the world too. Like I'm like, there's people listening in Norway.
Yeah, like right now, the podcast for me, I'm up to 50, almost 50 countries.
That's so cool. Like I love that. That's one of the best parts about podcasting, I think. Is you just get this sense of, oh my goodness, like I'm reaching someone across the world.
Yeah, like that's also the like I said, that's the best part, and the not only that, but the best part is being able to connect with each guest, and eventually that helps build not only that, but the relationships between a guest and the host, and I have friends from across the world that I keep in touch with, and everywhere now, and
Yeah,
it's a good feeling.
it really is.
And if I do look dark for some reason, it's my lighting. I have my window open, but my shades are kind of light, so apologies.
No, that's okay. I
Yeah,
set up
so
everything so it's right by a window so that I have that light.
yeah, that light coming in, that reflection,
Yeah.
but for you, it's been quite a ride, but it seems like you're holding it down. You're holding it
Yes.
down.
Yeah, I have a good foundation. I have a great mom. So I have the great foundation to build up again. So I always want to stress that to people, like love your children because life is really difficult and if they have that foundation, they'll be able to get through anything.
Well, and love your parents.
Love your parents, yeah,
Love
because
your
they'll
parents,
you'll need them one day.
especially your parents, because you'll need them one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though sometimes you may not see eye to eye or agree on certain things, love your parents.
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for being on. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for having me. This was lots of fun. I'm really happy we
Yeah,
got to do it
yeah,
finally.
yeah, yeah. We gotta do another one on wrestling now. That one will take us a couple hours, but we'll get it done.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chelsea. Thank you to the audience that came on to contribute and interact.
Yeah,
And we'll
thank
be
you.
back on soon here in like 2 weeks with another guest. So thank you again, Chelsea, and until next time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
It was.
All right, well, have a good one, everybody, and be safe and enjoy your week.